Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. Listen, Linda, listen. I was on my way to bed. And then I was like, let me check my email. And then I saw an email from a dad that I desperately wanted to answer. I was like, if I do not answer this email, they didn't DM me, they sent me an email. If I did not answer this email, it would be on my mind. So I was like, let me go ahead and answer it. So I'm gonna read the email to you because I think that talking about how dads deal with their spouses or their children's mother in postpartum is an often rarely discussed topic. So I want to read this email. So it says, "Hi, Dr. Pamela. Hope this email finds you well. I like to remain anonymous as possible." Of course you will. "I recently saw your YouTube video about how dads deal with postpartum depression. You had somebody email you mentioning that she thinks that her boyfriend is depressed, and you talked about how men are often overlooked in the postpartum process. I identified a lot with what the person said about their boyfriend. I also feel like I'm depressed. I feel like I can't do anything right to make my wife happy. She's 3 months postpartum. Well, you all are 3 months postpartum. She's 3 months postpartum and everything ticks her off. I see that she's struggling. I sometimes want to help, but I feel like I can't do anything right. I want to help with the baby, but it's always an issue. So I just give up. And then she gets upset at me. I don't know what to do. I have not really talked to my friends. I have not talked to my family. I'm just here with her. I feel like I can't bond with the baby because she had a traumatic birth. She had a C-section instead of a natural birth, and that's something she did not plan. So she's very upset about that. So she doesn't let anybody hold the baby. I just feel like it's just her and the baby, and then there's me. I'm really struggling mentally, but I just don't even know where to start. Can you please offer some advice?" Well, first, I would say, thank you for reaching out. Everything that you said is something that happened very, very often with dads. It's just that nobody really talks about. First, I want you to give yourself a little bit of grace. Dads often deal with I call them the neglect population in postpartum because there's a lot of different layers. So let's talk about you first. First of all, I think that you definitely need to reach out to friends and you definitely need to reach out to family, especially if you have friends that also have young children. If you don't say anything, it's going to show up in different areas. A couple of things that's happening is obviously you're feeling like your wife and the baby are on their own island and there's you. Well, first, I think it's important to check in with your wife and say, I see that you're struggling and I'm also struggling. How can we help each other, right? When a mom, you said you guys are 3 months postpartum. When a mom is in postpartum, and I say this by myself too, new moms are type A control freaks, right? And what I often try to tell new moms is your spouse or husband or whatever, partner, they may not do it your way, but as long as safety is not impacted, nobody's ever going to do it like mom. So you also talked about how there was a traumatic birth, right? Like she wanted a C-section instead of natural birth. So yeah, she's feeling very protective of the baby, right? So first you have to take care of yourself, okay? Think about your basic needs. Are you sleep deprived? Are you not eating? Are you not taking care of yourself? I don't know if you're on paternity leave. If you're still working, see if you have paternity leave. I don't know what kind of work you do, but try to take a break. Don't just try to push through. First and foremost, you have to find a therapist. I'm actually going to email you some therapists in your area, because where you are, I'm not licensed. I'm not going to say where you are, but it's very important for you to find a therapist that is going to help you to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your wife. Show your wife a lot of grace and try not to take it personal. You may not feel like you're not doing anything right. Just think about, like, she's in her survival mode. It really isn't about you, but also try to see if you can help out. Now, you will never be able to read her mind, right? So I tell moms, like, ask for what you need. But there are some things that you know that maybe if you do that, to help her out. Like, if you see the dishes are full, do the dishes. If you see that the trash need to be taken out, take out the trash. Like, try not to let her say, like, I'm here taking care of the baby all day and I come to a dirty kitchen or I come to a dirty house. So even if she doesn't want you to do anything with the baby, try to see where you can help out outside of the baby. You will have your time to bond with the baby, right? So try not to make that like a fight right now. But for you, find your community. It is important to connect with dad groups, have your own support system and village. You mentioned family, so that tells me that there's family around. You're just not utilizing them properly. So not sometimes, it is important for you to contact, if it's your mom or your sister, and say, hey, I'm really struggling and I really need some help, right? But try not to get into arguments with her. Try not to get upset because she's getting upset at you. She's going through so much right now, and you're going through so much right now. Dads are often neglected in postpartum because, I speak for myself. Sometimes, like I said, when you're a new mom, you're thinking like, this little kid needs me. This baby needs me. This baby's helpless. And we often say to ourselves, like, you're a grown man, you're a grown adult, you're going to figure yourself out, right? But what moms don't realize is that you and the husband came before the baby ever came. If I knew now what I knew then, my postpartum experience would be totally, totally different. So this is not an uncommon thing. You both are going through different stressors, but you're dealing with it differently. So please try not to isolate. But first and foremost, you do got to get into some therapy, right? Think about like the things that you used to do. If you were working out, can you try to work out again? Now, I'm not saying like go and spend like hours in the gym, because that might tick her off, but try to take care of yourself. I don't know where, well, I do know where you are, but where you are is pretty warm. So say, hey, you know what? Why don't you put the baby in the stroller and let's just go for a walk, right? If she's 3 months postpartum, she's probably with the baby all day, every day, especially if she doesn't want anybody to hold the baby, right? So say, and I encourage moms, like, get out of the house, go for a walk. You need fresh air. So say to her, you know what, can we just go for a walk, and check in with each other. Like, hey, what do you need from me this week to make your life a little bit easier, right? And just say to her, like, you are struggling and I'm struggling too, right? And like, let's just talk about how we can support each other. If she's not in therapy, I would recommend it. If she says no, she's fine, let it be. Don't push it, right? Because the more you push for her to do therapy, the more she doesn't want to. But yeah, dads, there's a lack of emotional support from both ends, right? And dads often feel like there's no use for me. Like, especially when the baby first come, the mom is doing all the job, right? They're nursing, they're pumping, so, like, it's okay to ask her, like, tell me what you need, right? Now, again, the postpartum process is so complicated, because she might say, well, you should know what I already need, because I hear moms say that a lot. And again, I tell moms, your man cannot be a mind reader, right? But it's okay. Just say, hey, is there anything that you need right now? Or what can I do for you right now, right? If she was the one that's cooking, like, hey, maybe we can order out. Are you a part of a church? Reach out for support. Maybe get a meal train going, right? So utilize your support. When you're in postpartum, you're also sleep deprived. When you're sleep deprived, you're irritable. When you're irritable, you're lashing on your partner, right? So try to use I statements. Try to refrain from blaming her, like, like, you always got an attitude. What's your issue? She is in postpartum. She is hormonal. Like, have empathy for each other, right? And have empathy for yourself. You know, this is a temporary thing. She may not even realize that she's going through postpartum, but I do commend you that you are aware that you have a self-awareness that there is some depression going on. And depression looks like there's things that I used to do to take care of myself, but I'm not doing that anymore. You know, so I really, really encourage you to reach out for help. I'm going to send you some resources. If you can find a dad group, that would be good, because it'll make you feel like, oh, I'm not the only one that's going through this. You know, a lot of men feel inadequate in the postpartum space. They feel as though like, I'm just here. I just donate this sperm and the mom is all about the baby, right? So she's trying to survive. You're trying to survive. And you're also adjusting to fatherhood, you know, and that's something people don't really talk about. Like, time is something that it's your relationship with time is different. I'm sure before you became a father, you can just get up and go and do your thing, right? But now, like, your wife needs you, the baby needs you. So it's an adjustment process. And sometimes how men deal with that is they withdraw, they disconnect, they isolate. But don't do that, okay? You already know you're feeling depressed. Take the first step and reach out for help. And I'm going to follow up with you. So I'm going to send you the resources and follow up with you. But I'm going to give you a therapy homework, okay? And your therapy homework is find one thing that you used to do for yourself that's healthy that you used to stop doing. So if it was working out, then I encourage you to go and work out. And say to your wife, say, you know what? And don't, again, if you used to work out for 2 hours, you can't afford that, okay? Because she's going to be pissed off. But say, hey, you know what? I'm going to work out for 30 minutes. And then when I come back, what can I do for you to give you a break, right? I'll be with the baby while you go take a shower. I'll be with the baby while you go wash your hair. Offer her something, you know? And then, again, encourage her to get out of the house, go for a walk, and try to talk about each other. This is the time to lean in, not outward. So what you're feeling is completely normal. What you're feeling is completely valid. I hear lots of men feel inadequate, unsupported, neglected, and abandoned in the postpartum space. It's not right, but it happens. It happens. So thank you for emailing me, and I will follow up with you. And good luck, okay? Hang in there and take care of yourself and take care of your wife and take care of the baby. All right, bye-bye.